Hello. Still haven't changed this background here. I should remove the Christmas and the snow, but I forget it every time. And then when I'm going live again, I see it and remember it and forget about it again. Hello, Lucas. Hello, Geltusam. Coming to go. And some, what I guess is Chinese or something, I can't say. But hi anyway. Is it Chinese or? Hello Miki, hello Gonako. Yeah, stuff happens in last time. Minor things, but we can, let's switch to my face here. Argo, can't wait for multiplayer. Same here, but I'm doing baby steps. That's the way to make something like this. Just make tiny little things work at the time. Don't get into too much complex stuff too fast. Merry Christmas. Yeah. Okay, so let's start out by taking a look while we now I need to do like this so you can see both. Let's take that one. So here, okay. So before we continue, before we start on doing anything, let's see what I have done since last time, because I have actually done some stuff, as I also shared in these shorts that you might have seen. I'm now keeping track of what tool the players have selected. So now you can actually see what tool the other players have selected. I'm also keeping track of the state of the flashlight, so you can see if the other players have the flashlight turned on and off. And I'm keeping, and then now also syncing. Before I was only syncing what direction the player was looking at, but not up and down. So you couldn't kind of see, you know, the tools moving up and down or the flashlight moving up and down. So that's also syncing now. Via some network variables and some network transform thingies. So to the left is the host, and we can also, just to show here, so to the left you can see the host, and the host have now the flashlight turned on. So and to the right is the client. It is about to start up, and I've done some code so that when I'm in a clone of Unity, it automatically just tries to join a local multiplayer game, and when I'm just starting it in the normal one, it's always hosting. But it's just a technical stuff for me to test it faster. So what you see here is that can I get the mouse over here? So over here is the view from the host. And as you can see, I turned on the flashlight before the other player was joining. And now, as you see on the right, the host is standing over here. And I can maybe do like this. The host is standing over here, and you can see his flashlight is already turned on. And that might not seem like a big deal, but that one thing is synchronizing what happens while players are in the game. Another and maybe bigger thing is to sync stuff so that when player rejoins or join later on, things are still in sync. For instance, the flashlight. So you can see here the flashlight of the host was already turned on when the client joined. So you need to be, I know it's very confusing with client and host and who's doing what, and you should try and do it in code. It's much more complicated, even though. But anyway, so now if I controlling the host here, you can see to the right, you can see he's looking around, he's looking up and down, and you can see that I can turn on and off the flashlight. And I can then go to we can also, let's do the fuse connection tool in the host. So you could also see that it's now we've changed here. You can stand here. So the client is now looking at the host, and the host is switching tools. It only works with these tools right now, and there is some stuff that is not synced in these tools. That's something we will look at today. But at least the syncing of what is selected is working. And I'm not sure I'm doing it in the right way, but I'm doing it in a way, and I'm trying to get some knowledge about how these things are working. Client, host, who can do what, who should do what, and all that. So I'm just trying to make it work now to get some knowledge, and then I will most likely refactor. But I know I mentioned that all the time, but that is really how you are doing stuff like this. You cannot just do it once and then just continue, because you will be painting yourself into a corner in the long run if you don't go back and redo stuff. Even though as a player like you would just say, just move fast, let's get it out, let's go. But you will quickly be very sad with that approach, because very quickly the game will become very, very buggy. Do you now need a flashlight tool? Maybe some headlight? Yeah, we need actually in the old days, back in one of the early versions, the flashlight was actually a tool you selected. So I actually have a model somewhere of a little flashlight I made. So I don't know, what I could do was maybe, the problem is that the flashlight is kind of a non-existing tool right now, because you're just turning on light and it's just there. I don't know how we'll do that. It will continue like that for now, because the problem is I cannot take the flashlight in another hand, because then what if you grab up something? It doesn't, it's weird. But right now that's way too detailed. Right now it's only about syncing stuff and making it making it work. So one thing that we should fix now is, if I go to the, so now the host have selected the torch, and if I go to the client over here, and first of all just having the client now has nothing selected, and if I click the button, the torch of the host goes off, seen from the client's point of view, seen from this one's point of view. So we can also do like this. So now you can see both of them are going on at the client over here, and none of them are going off on the host. Don't know how to explain that, but that should of course not be the case. So let's see if we can fix that. Anthony, hello and good morning. Hello. Yeah, making progress. And now we are gonna jump into some code. Again, there's also right now I have had to disable some stuff due to the multiplayer stuff. So right now there's no highlighting, for instance, and I'm not even sure you can actually, sometimes you can't ignite fireworks. There's some bug there too, but that's what I'm saying. I need to take baby steps, make one little thing work at a time. And right now I'm trying to make the tools sync up to some extent, and then I most likely go back and redo a lot of it when I know how to do it, how it works, and how to do it better. So why is that tool not okay, fair enough. Okay, so now we need to sync some stuff in the torch tool. So to be able to do that, we will have to make it inherit the torch tool. We have it to inherit, let me make it bigger. Wow, that's big. It needs to inherit from the network behavior and sound blah 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 effect blah 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 blah. This one is tougher. Right now I'm only gonna sync that it's actually turning on and off. Let's first make it so that it doesn't turn on the other ones. Turn on. Play sound, play. No, that's fine. When is that called? Ah, it's the ignite tool. Ah, yeah, okay. Yeah, okay. So that's okay. It's not the torch. We need to, let's close that. It's actually the ignite tool. And that is already inherited from the base tool, and therefore it's already inherited from the network behavior. So that's good. Okay. On player, look at yeah, there's also something with the tooltips. Okay. Okay. So this is where we are listening to the input. So when I press the mouse button, this is actually what is turning on and turning off the active torch tool, the ignite tool. And we don't want to do that if we are not is owner. So if we are not the owner of this instance of the ignite tool, we'll just return, meaning that it won't listen to the input. So this should fix the problem of one of the players hitting the button and the other one's torch going on their screen. I know it's super complicated. Maybe that's why not so many are streaming making multiplayer games, because it's really, really crazy. When is multiplayer coming? I think Lars, it's Lars, you asked like 2 days ago. And it's not going that fast. As I also sent you in the DM, Lars, I sent you a link to my first live stream where I mentioned the exact where I think, the time estimation, and my guess is this will take 1 to 2 years, I guess. Maybe 1 year until we can try it out, 2 years till it's really, really good. But that's a guess. It can also be faster, it can also be never. So let's see here. Okay, so now both have the torch tool turned on. Yes, okay. So on the left here, when I press the button, the torch goes off on my screen, and the other torch, which is there, is not going off. And hopefully the same happens here. So we see here, torch is not going off, only on the player who's actually clicking. So that's good. That's good. So what we now should do, active tool. So now we need to keep track of if the tool, the ignite tool, is active or not on the other players, if that makes sense. And we can actually, I think I can actually reuse something here. I can reuse this network variable boolean. So we have one here, and then we turned it as torch tool turned on, and it started out being false, everyone can see this and the owner can set it. So that means the player that actually have the torch can set it. Let's see, we don't have any start methods here, right? No, we don't. Okay. So because we're inheriting from this network thingy, we have an on network spawn. So that means when it starts up, let me see here. Yeah, so we can actually do something like this. No, let's, yeah. So here we can see I've made a method called refresh flashlight state, turned on, blah, blah. We can do something similar here. So instead of having the tool turn on and off here directly, I'm making a method called something like refresh torch state based on network variable. I'm not sure that's the best one, but nah, wait a second. No, we can't do that. No, we can't. We just say set torch tool state, something like that, turned on, and then we say if it's turned on, we say active tool, and I'm doing this to not have to have duplicated code. So, but you will see in a moment. So turned off. So set torch to state blah blah. So instead of having to replicate this stuff, I'm having this method now. So in here, I can say turn on true, and we can say no, that's not how we're gonna do it, because in here we're gonna say torch the network variable here. Maybe I should rename to network variable. So here we set the value to true, and when it turns off, we set it to false. So yeah, I think that's fine. So instead of actually turning on the active torch as I did before, we're now setting the network variable in here on the, and this is only happening when it's the owner. So the owner sets this variable, if that makes sense. Up here, so up here we can do, when player spawned, we can do an on value changed. So, and I think it's like let's see, I can't remember if it's the previous value and new value. Okay, so previous value and new value. So what is that? So this is a method that is, or this is an event that is triggered every time the value of this changes. So by setting that value down here to true or false, it will trigger this up here. And because we now have a method where we can set the torch state, we can now, we can now just say new value, which is the new value that has just been set here. So why do it so complicated when it was much simpler before? Well, because we have to. Because now this network variable is synced between the player and the host, or the client and the host. So by setting it this way, this variable, the netcode for game objects, makes sure to sync that with all the other players. So when this is changed, we actually turn on and off the torch, and yeah, so that should work. And what we can do is, if so, this is how we make sure that, if, just so it's more clear, so when the value is True, this is when it's spawned. So that means when the other players are spawned on. So when you're joining a game, all the other players are also spawned, meaning this one runs on your player and the other players. So this is how we get in sync. So that if another player had the torch tool turned on when you were joining, it's turned on for you, if that makes sense. We can't do like that. We could just also just set it true. So I think this should work. Awake, blah blah blah. We check that. Oh no. Yeah. Let's see. It might work. Yeah. About mods. I'm getting a lot of questions about mods and how that will work. And the short answer is I don't know yet. Of course I have it. I all the time have it in my back of my mind, but I'm not. But I need to make the base game work first and know how that works. And then I can try and figure out, okay, how can I make mod works too? And how can I make as many mods as possible work without mod creators having to rebuild them? I still don't know if it's possible. I don't know. Time will tell. Yeah, I don't know if it's possible to make it work without having to rebuild. But yeah, time will tell. I'll do what I can. Okay, let's try now. So the host now is having its torch tool turned on, because you can see I'm holding down the mouse. So in a moment when the client to the right joins, but of course, at least all mods like that is... Okay, so this is not working. Okay. Okay, so you can see now it's partly working. The initial one was not working. I'll get to that in a moment. But now you can see the host here, when I'm clicking here, his torch is kind of... Oh, I can't point. His torch is kind of going off, but the other players are not. But looking at the right screen on the client here, you see that the other player's torch is going off here. And hopefully it also works the other way around. It's not. So why is that? I think I had the same problem with the other one. I don't know if it makes sense at all, but let me see. I had something similar with the previous new. I might need to rename some of these. I'm not too happy about. By the way, this should be awake. Let's try and do some debugging and debugging. So we can say, so client spawned with what? equals. So now we should see in the log what it spawns as. So we should be able to see if he's holding down. Can you say you come a long way? No, it's not that long actually. Well, it's a long way since no multiplayer at all, but there's still a long way to go. Yeah, Sullivan, it's most likely as JJ Block says, you hit the backspace button, as you can see here. If you're hitting that, the tooltips and all the UI goes away. And it's made like that for to make better screenshots and stuff like that. Okay, so maybe we should take this now. Okay, so I'm holding down the button now, meaning it's turned on. No, I know why. I know why now. No, I don't know why. No, I don't. Okay. So, you can see I'm holding it down, but it's not turned on the client to the right. If I stop and click again, it works. Okay, so, and here we can see the problem. So client 0 spawned with torch. Okay, that was what he was spawning. Let's see what we have here. Okay, so on the client over here, when he spawned, client 0, that's the host, spawned with the torch tool turned on true. So why didn't it turn on? I know why, maybe. I think I know why. I think it's something to do with the actual tool. Torch tool. Yes, torch effect stop, exactly. So this cannot, and this is something that is I still haven't figured out completely, but the awake and start method that I'm used to do stuff when things are starting up. What is happening here, I think, is that because this was done in the start method, this method here is called after this one over here. So even though I'm setting the tool and turning it on, this, because it was start before, like this is running after the player have spawned, resulting in the torch effect to be stopped. So in this case, it's pretty simple to fix, I think, because I can just do awake, make it awake so it happens before that, and then now when I get in, it actually works, I guess, because now there's no code running afterwards. Disabling or stopping this effect. Yes. It's turned on, that's fine. Okay. So, let's try again. But of course, mods like, I know Guanaco have done a lot of coding stuff. A lot of that will not just work out of the box. I might, if I'm very lucky, I'm not sure I can, but if I'm very lucky, I might be able to do something to have basic fireworks work without much being updated, in theory. But for sure, stuff where coding is involved, custom coding, that will most likely not work, depending on what it is, of course. But again, let's take one little tiny step at a time. So let's try again. So now I'm starting out by the host just having the torch turned on. You see, ooh, don't I have, damn it. Oops, sorry, that was the wrong one. At some point I had some small hooray sound effects. We could have used that there. But anyway, you can see to the right here, the host was already having his torch turned on when the player was joining. And as you can see on the right side, the host is still having its torch turned on. Woohoo! So that's very cool. One little thing we can try out now, just for the fun of it, is to change, let me see. So as you saw right now, when I'm clicking the button, it's almost instant on the other one. That's of course because I'm running local multiplayer on the same machine. So there's close to no delay or lag. In real world, there will of course be some lag. There will be some delay. And what I have learned from talking with Rob Lang, I don't know if he's here, but that is something that you as a player don't think of when it works, and when it don't work, it's very annoying. That, for instance, in this case with the torch, it would be weird if the torch didn't turn on right when you click it. And what can easily happen is that the torch, if it's done in a different way, the torch will not turn on until the server or the host get the message that you want to turn it on. The problem with that is that feels weird, because you're clicking the button, nothing happens for half a second or less, and then it turns on. That's weird. So, but the way I'm doing this thing, I can actually get around that. So it actually should be instant on your client when you are playing, and then the other guys that are playing is seeing it delayed. I can't get, you can't fix that. You can't remove delay from multiplayer games, but you can do a lot of stuff to, hide that delay. But we can troubleshoot and we can debug some stuff. So here we can add a delay for, like, let's say 350 milliseconds. Jitter, I'm actually not sure what that is. Randomizer to add and subtract to the package delay. One applies in the editor. Yeah, that's fine. Add/subtract to the package delay. So we can do, okay, so this is just a package delay, and then we can, what if we do like that and drop print of send and receive packages to drop only applies percentage. So should we, I don't know what will be a lot and what will be a little, but let's just try and say 10. I actually haven't tried setting all these. I only tried the delay, but hey, should try something new on live stream, right? Anyway, we can just turn it off, but we just want to test it out here. So just so you can see, we could maybe also, let's maybe make it a little even more, so it's even more clear that there's a delay. So I think this will be equal to a ping of 750, in multiplayer games, which is a lot and not something you want. But let's see how the game behaves, even though it's in such a simple state. Did did you making multiplayer from zero with your server side? Well, I have my single player game, you know, Fireworks Mania, and I'm now using Unity's netcode for game objects to add multiplayer functionality to it. But believe me, it's not just next. It's not as simple as that. So let's see here. So I'm the host here. Everything is fine. It's instant. Boom, 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 boom. Very fast. All is good. Let's start the client. You need to realize client-side prediction, bro, to remove lag. Wasn't that exactly what I just explained? Yeah, clumsy. I heard about that. Because as I also understood on Rob Lang, this debug thing in this is okay, but it's better to have something like clumsy to actually test it real. And yeah, fake bad network and stuff like that. I know, high ping on 750. Hello, Pyroflogger. So now we have a ping of 750. As you can see here, I'm moving the host here is running fine. He can move around. For me to the left, for what I'm controlling right now, it feels good. It feels fast. But as you can see on the client, he's jumping around. And you can also see if we move a little closer here. See, it's very delayed. But that's fine, and I can just, if I do it fast, it should still end up on the right one. Okay, so that was the host. It feels fine on the host. Looks very laggy on the client. What about the client? Okay, he's moving fine. It feels fine. You can see the tools are here. The tools on the client to the right. Everything is fast. I can see things are changing quickly. It feels snappy, but of course there's obviously a delay to the host. And now this was maybe the jitter, the drop packages, because you can see now the torch is turned on to the right, but not to the left. And that's most likely because a package was dropped, I guess. Okay, that's a little weird. Is that really the package drop? But it shouldn't be doing it all the time. Yeah, as you can see, I haven't done anything with spawning, so you can't see whatever the other guys are spawning. Come on. You can see I'm standing now on this. Okay, but it's weird that the torch is not at all working. Okay. It might be fair enough with this delay thing. Let's just make sure that it works when we remove it. Or we can let's remove the jitter and let's move the drop. And let's take it maybe, let's keep it there. So, Alex Gaming, I love your game. Thank you. Good to hear. Pyro is asking where I'm from. I'm from Denmark. How is it going? Bad or good? Good or bad? Well, it's actually going pretty good. It's not like I'm not expecting any issues. I'm expecting a ton of issues, but I'm moving forward. So that's good. So let's try again here. Yep, whoops. So like that. The client just interpolates new position. The net. I'm not doing anything special, but netcode for game objects comes with an interpolate option, so it tries to do a prediction of where stuff is going. So yeah, it do. Looks like it needs snapshot interpolation. I don't know what that is. Did I just break something? Because now the torch is not working on the client. Let's just remove this debugging thing delay, just to make sure it's not that. Because if it's that, then we have to look at it. But it worked before, but I changed that. I changed this to awake, but that shouldn't. Oh, if that's awake, that happened before. It shouldn't change anything. Let's just try again here without that delay. Yeah, thank you, site, but and I will take a look. But again, right now it's not my biggest concern. Again, as I said before, I need to make basic stuff work, and then I improve upon that. So when I can, already people can run around. The sync of the tools is there, the sync of flashlight, and now I'm syncing this torch tool, and I will just get the basic stuff working like that. And then later on, and I need to spawn stuff and all that. And then later on, I'll get to stuff like interpolating a little better, and yeah, all these kind of more nice to have things. It doesn't make sense to do that if the core and basic stuff doesn't work. So yeah, but with a normal delay right now, it actually works. It works fine, except that the torch was not working now, but that seems like another issue maybe. Mega Monkey, any advice on making a first-person controller? Well, right now in the game, I'm using the old standard asset thing from Unity. I will not recommend using that because it's not very easy to make changes to. But there is a new Unity just like half a year ago or something like that, added a new first person, actually third and first person controller. I think maybe it's just called player controller or something like that, for free on the asset store. I would take a look at that. unless you want to learn how to make one, then you have to read up upon that. But keep in mind what you want to spend your time on. If the first-person controller is something unique to your game, that it needs to work in a very specific way, then maybe do your own. But in many cases, the controller is not that unique. In my game, as I said, I'm currently just using that old standard one because it's good enough. Now I have some problems. I can't make it crouch and other stuff, and that's why I have on the to-do to change it to another, a little more dynamic and a little more easier to extend player controller. But I have also made the game and, you know, all that stuff. So, yeah, save time where you can. That's all I'm saying. So, that works. What? Okay, so I clearly... Okay, so it was not a part of the delay thing. I fucked something up here. So why is that? So the client doesn't work now. Oh. Okay, so it works from the host to the client, but not the other way around. So let's just make sure that this one was not the one who fucked it up. Because we changed this to make it the initial value work. Let's just make sure that that was not... I cannot see why that should make it fail, because that shouldn't really be... Nah, let's do something else. I want to test something else because I can't believe it should be this one. Let's instead do something like this. Player blah 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 changed to, and then we have the new value here. Boom. Then we should be able to see that on both of them. Yeah. Let's try that. I don't know if you saw it, but suddenly the torch was not working when it was working when the host turned on and off the torch. You could see that on the client, but when the client did the same, you couldn't see it on the host. I thought it was something with the packages being, you know, the debug thing I was testing, but apparently not. Apparently it's something different. But let's figure out now with a little debugging. Yeah, Guanaco, I can't wait till the first fire was spawned in multiplayer. Yeah, that will be pretty interesting. But right now I'm not actually 100% sure how I can do that. Of course I can do it, but it will be something I will do very soon. But that will also, yeah, it will open up for some other problems, which is yeah, something with ownership on stuff. Anyway, so let's see. Okay. So okay, so the host is not even notified. What? Didn't we see this work? It was working right before. So if I'm not the owner, I'm skipping this. Let's happen on the other ones. And I'm setting that. Set the value. And that trigger this one, which sets the state, which turns on and off the 2. Okay. I can't see why that should be the issue, but I know we just changed this. Can't explain why that should be the issue. Let's take it back. That fixed, as I said, that fixed the initial state problem. But did it break some other stuff? It could also be, and I actually have experienced that before, that sometimes the clone over here gets, even though it should be in sync, it gets out of sync somehow. And it's not always easy to see. If this is not working, then I think I will try and close the clone and open up again. So work that way. Oops. Doesn't work that way. So if we go to the host here, we can see client 0. I don't know if you can see it, but client 0, blah, blah, blah. And if I go over here to the client, click, 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 click. You don't see, oops, come on. You don't see client 1 doing anything over here. So the host doesn't know about that. I think we are in a situation where this was fine. Whoops. I just think it's a sync error, and that's kind of annoying. And it happens sometimes when I updated that debug thing. That sometimes, yeah. Let's hope this was just a problem. So I'm closing down the clone now, and let's just try and start it just to make sure everything is built and fine. And then we open up the clone again. Yeah, good luck, Mega Monkey. But as I said again, if it depends on what you want to do. If you want to learn how to make a first-person controller, of course, do your own. I don't have any recommendation for any, tutorials or anything, but I'm pretty sure you can Google due to that. But a general advice is that you should be, if your goal is to complete a game, then be aware of what you want to spend your time on, because most likely you are one person just like me and you can't do everything. So figure out what you can use of other tools, but at the same time also keep the amount of packages and stuff you're using to a minimum, because the more you add to a game, the more code you also have in your game that you don't know anything about. So it's a balance, In my case, as I said, I'm using the standard first-person controller. Now here, it's over 2 years since my game launched. And now I'm at a point where I might want to reconsider and do something else, use something else to, take it to the next level. But it's been fine so far and it works fine. In the same kind of thing, but that's not something I have planning on changing. But I also know that I can't make these entire, you know, all this environment stuff here, all these things here, and in here there's tons of a lot of low poly stuff. If I should do all of that myself, it would be crazy and it would take my entire time to do that. So that's why I decided to just buy these assets, because these assets are not specific. They're not specific to my game. You know, I just needed an environment to be in and play with the fireworks. The fireworks is unique to my game, and that's why I created that myself. But the environment is not. I then, as time went on, I made the environment more part of the game, like, you know, you can explode stuff and blow stuff up. I made that, but it was existing assets that I bought to save time building them, because the assets themselves, cars, houses, blah 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 blah, isn't unique to the game. And as you have also seen, this city or this town here is in many other games. But hopefully all of the games are different, but just use the same kind of environment. So yeah, I'm looking to make my own to learn, but also just want to make a solid controller that I can reuse. Yeah, so, and that's fine. And especially if you're new to programming and new to Unity, it makes a lot of sense to try and create your own stuff, so you have an idea of how it works. So that's totally fine. But in my case, when I started this game, I've made many games before that, and I've been making games in my spare time for the past 15, 16 years or something like that. So I have done all of these things. Not that I know everything, but I have been through all of that. And that's why when I got the idea for this game, I was like, okay, now the goal is not to learn as such. Well, of course, you always learn stuff. I know a lot more now than I started. This is actually my first 3D game. So I have learned a lot while making this game. But the goal was more to make a finished game and not so much to learn a lot of stuff. Even though, as I said, I learned, and I'm learning now making multiplayer, because it's also my first multiplayer game. But I also, this time, got a lot of stuff, bought some assets, got some free assets, and bought my way faster to something that looks more finished, if that makes sense. I also have a package for sound, for instance, for sounds. I got a package with a lot of fireworks sounds, and a lot of stuff like that. That saved me a ton of time, so I could focus on what is actually unique in my game. Anyway, let's try again here, and let's see if it works now. I'm really hoping it works, and it was just a sync problem with the project. Unity transport is piece of sheep. Can you elaborate a little on that side? Right now I'm just using just local thing, but I also have set it up so I can use Unity's relay, because that's what I have to use for real. So let's see here. Lucky Duck asking if it's free. No, there's no plan to make the game free. No. It's the same as a pizza in Denmark, a big pizza. A pizza and a Coke. It's the same. You can't even get to the movies for this price. Not in Denmark, at least. Why the... Okay, don't we agree that it worked before? So it's not syncing from the client to the host. I'm pretty sure that worked before. So this one is not called on the host when the client does it. And this one read from anyone and the owner should. And it's not this one because this is working. Because it actually do. Yeah, 74 kroner for a pizza. Yeah. Not far off. As I said, maybe plus a Coke. Hello, site. Thank you for subscribing. Yeah, Lucky Duck. Yeah, at least in Copenhagen, if you need a pizza, a family pizza is more than 74 kroners. And a normal pizza is like 60 or something like that, 60 something. And then a Coke on top of that, and then it's the same. Where did the music go? Oh, okay. So a menu at McDonald's is also more than 74 kroners, actually. So with the latest inflation going nuts, I should have increased the price of the game, but I didn't. I think 10 euros is a good price. Yeah, the same in Denmark. I'm not exactly sure you can get a Coke because a Coke at a pizza shop is typically more expensive than a Coke in a supermarket. So I actually think a Coke and a pizza would be more than 74. Anyway, enough pizza talk. I'm getting all hungry. So it works. The client shows up doing that, and the client is setting it only it's setting off the torch via the network variable, like this one. But why isn't it synced? And because if it was synced, I should be able to see it here. Don't we agree that this worked not so long ago? Else I have to go back and rewatch the live stream and see what I changed. 1 minute YouTube. Hello. Well, adding multiplayer to the game, or trying to. Don't we agree that this worked like half an hour ago or something like that? Let me see if some of the other stuff works. Let's see when the client joins to the right here. Okay, so the initial one of that works. Yes, fine. I have to do like that so I can see the, yep. So see here, I don't know if you can see it, but down here it only says client 1, torch on off, blah 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 blah, but it's not showing on the host. The host is only showing client 0. So see here, it's showing up on both of them. And now why can't I see a little more information about what is actually synced here? That would be nice. Yeah, I'm pretty sure it worked too. But why is it not? I can see it being sent, but why is it not? What am I missing here? Okay, now it might be, yeah, now it's broken because I paused the game. Wait a second. It's the neighbors running around the street. Okay, let me try something else, just to rule out the syncing issue, because I have another clone here. I just, before going live, I made another clone so I can actually have now 3 players in a game for testing purposes. Just want to really be sure, because I cannot see why this is not working. It doesn't make sense. There's also some other logic here about the tooltips and some looking at stuff that I need to handle, but that's not really the thing now. Okay, I really cannot see why this is not working. I'm clearly setting this one on the client. So let's try and go over here, here, and then we have this one up here. So we are only turning on the torch via this network variable, setting it to true, setting it to false. That triggers this on value changed on all clients and host and wherever. It should at least, but it's not. It's not doing it on the host. It's for some reason. But it is. Oh, that's weird. Freaking weird. Oh, damn it. Shouldn't do that. Or is it the main one I should restart? The reason I'm thinking it's kind of a syncing weird Unity bug thingy is that it worked before. But as it keeps doing it, I'm getting more and more convinced that it might be something I changed. Then I have to go back and rewatch the entire live stream and see when it worked. We could actually, while it loads, let's try just that. Without sound. Okay, let it load here. Okay, so we have it here. Joining this, and then we are joining this, just for the fun of it. And then while it loads, let's try and rewind a little here. So let's take a look. Come on. So the host over here works, yes. I'm just watching a video of just previous of the live stream we are currently. That's very meta inception. So I'm controlling the host here. Then I'm going to the client. And it's not working. What am I saying? What I did, well, the problem I had when I did the flashlight was that I switched around on the previous and new value, and that messed up a lot of stuff. So am I trying to fix it here? Yeah, I think so. I need to go back even further here. It's not working here either. Okay, so I'm already having problems here making it work. Okay, I'm as confused there. Have I been on this problem for so long? No, okay, this is before. Okay, this is before I'm fixing it. Did I maybe just forget about? I don't know. Come on. Works there. And okay. It's for sure something really stupid. Okay, so so we have a host here, flashlight turned on. We have a player here, and we have a player here. So go over here. Okay. Whew. So now we have. Okay, maybe I shouldn't. See. So it worked. It works. Okay, why is it? Okay, now it's completely confusing. Okay, so this is one client, this is another client, and this is the host. As you can see here, when I click the torch on the bottom one here, it works, but it only works on the other client, not on the host. What? And what if I go up here? And up here, it doesn't work on any other. And if I go over here, it works. Okay, I'm totally puzzled now. What? That's weird. Okay. I'm closing down everything now. It cannot be a code mistake. Well, it can, of course, but I'm closing Unity completely. Also the first one, because if it works on, I can't explain it. Just want to make sure that it worked at some point in the live stream here. So let's try and go. See, there's not working either. Let's see if I do make it work. So now the host, yeah, okay, that's this initial thing. It was not working, and then we go here. So host goes on, shows up on the client, that's fine. What about the other way around? Nope. And I'm explaining why it doesn't work. And then, okay, and then I jump into, this debugging thing. So it never worked. It never worked. I'm only turning it on here on the host. I never tried on the client. Yeah, I know about the authority thing, but specifically for the player is actually the owner, and that's why I'm having the variable here up here set so that the write permission is owner, so the owner can write to this one and everybody can read. So the owner, meaning the player itself, should be able to set this one. And as you saw, it worked between the two clients, but not from one of the client to the other, and not to the host. So there's something off here. It's not just the authority thing, because then it would not work at all. I think it's but now that I'm rewinding and rewatching the live stream here, I can actually see that I never got it working, because you can see I'm coming from let's see, I'm coming from this test here. And in this test, you can see here, I'm only testing it on the host, showing up on client. And that works. That still works. And then right after, I go over to this debugging thing and testing out that with the delay and all that. So let's see if it's not just some Unity refresh, blah, blah, something. I was hoping to get a little more done than just this. I wasn't expecting it to be this difficult. But you're totally right, the Mega Monkey, and that is why the spawning of stuff, that's where things get complicated, because then we have this authority owner thingy problem, which I haven't dealt with at all until now. But because the player is the owner of its own player, so there I don't have the problem. But when you start to spawn stuff, and then somebody owns that, and then the other clients cannot change that. But actually, as far as I talked with Rob Lang about this, and as far as I remember, we could also let's try this. There might be something coming up. No, that was not it. That's not that problem. That's not that problem. It was another problem. That netcode for game objects are actually doing something so clients can also set network variables and then having it be instant on the client themselves and then having it update over network on the other ones without me having to do a lot of stuff. But anyway, that's not this problem. So let's try again. We start up the host, and then we start up the client. Please let it work now. And then let's just say it was some kind of Unity bug. That would be easiest. Okay. So we have the host over here. Oops. He can run around, he can turn flashlight, blah, 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 blah. Perfect. Go over here. When we join with the client. And the weird thing was, and that's also why I need some more debugging tools, because as you saw before with the profiler, I could actually see it sending something, but I couldn't see the value of it, and that's a little weird. So I have to investigate if I need some more tools or I need to use the tools that are here better. Because I could see that the client was sending some package, but the server was not updating it. See here? I can still do all this, and this one works. So the flashlight thingy works, but this one doesn't. And it's made in the exact same way. Let me just check something. So the flashlight is the actual flashlight. It have the awake where it disables blah 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 blah. Turn on off, blah 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 blah. Disable, turn on, blah, blah. Fine. So the flashlight itself doesn't have any network logic or anything because it's just a UI thing. Okay, perfect. And then we have the, so yeah, just so we know what we're talking about. So the flashlight here works. And we can also go to the host, flashlight works. So the logic works. And the torch should be the same. So we have a network variable being a bool. We have a default to false, and we have everyone, and we have owner, and we have everyone and owner. Yes, perfect. And then we have this one. Then we have an awake where we just check for something. We don't really do anything. The same goes on up here. Then we have the network spawn. So we take the network variable on value changed, hook it up to previous and new value. Do the same with the flashlight turn on. Then we have this method here for turning it on and off. That's just that logic, but that doesn't really matter because we have a lock here. So that this should be updating. And then we have, this is true. We could also just generate completely the same, but that's the same here. Do like that. And that's just for the initial state. And then we set it down. Boom. Yes, perfect. And when we do here and where are we? So toggle. So that's the toggle that is okay. So the flashlight has a method called toggle that we call from somewhere. Yeah. Toggle flashlight. And that's just, yeah, some method, blah, blah, blah. Doesn't matter. It's not the problem. And the point is that when it toggles, it changes the network variable to just be the opposite of what value it had, which is basically the same here. So, wait a second. Okay. So when it's pressed and it's turned on, set it. When it's pressed and when it's not pressed and it is turned on, then we turn it off. But again, this logic here is working on the client itself. It's working fine here. Okay, now it crashed maybe. Okay, that's because I'm changing that. Okay, that doesn't work. I might have changed some code and then it needs to rebuild and then everything fucks up. Yeah, now it crashed because I changed some code. That's fine. Okay, I really can't see why this is not working. Why is it not syncing that value? Because it is working. It's turning on and off the torch via this network variable. So why is it not syncing it? Okay. What if we... Okay, let's try something else. We have the host here. Oops, can we... Come on, like that. And then we take analysis profile. Then we have the profile here. So, let's try that. But the problem is I can't see... No. I have to deprofile. No. I don't know if the deep profile will show us anything. Do anybody in here knows how to make this profiler thing work? Not work, but show the value it's actually sending. So like before I could just see that it's... Stop. I could just see it sending an update to player or something or whatever, but I couldn't see what value it was sending. I don't know if deep profiling will do the trick. Let's see. Live making feed. Cool. Not sure what you mean. Godot. 3D. I'm live, yes, and I'm adding multiplayer to my single player game. Well, it sounds easy when I say it like that, but I'm trying to do it. So we have the host here. That. Okay. So it works here. We can see that the client to the right can see this. We have the flashlight thingy. Work perfect. Can I see? No, okay, let's try. Then we go over here, switch to this one, and it's not freaking updating. Okay, so I'm standing still, turning it on, turning it off. So we stop. So client 1, it's sending the torch turned on. We agree that this one is saying that the client 1, that's this one. For player clone ignite tool torch turned on, it's sending, but I cannot see what value it's sending. Value. So is it sending the? Why should it send the wrong value? And the server, what is that sending? Wouldn't it be nice if I could see what it's actually sending? Okay, so how can I see this? Anybody knows? Received. So this should be... How can I see? So I can see it's sending the torch tool turned on, but I cannot see if it's true or false. How can I do that? Doesn't help. Yeah. I don't know if have you done any network stuff, Mega Monkey? Do you know how to? I want to see these messages. I want to see what data is actually sent. It just said receive 4 bytes. That's fine. But what is it? What did it send? It just says network variable delta, and that doesn't really help me. I can see it's this network variable. That's fine. I can see it's some kind of delta. I can see it received 4 bytes. But what did it receive? Come on. Yeah, okay. Yeah, syntax errors is not... Well, it's still sometimes a problem, but that's not typically the problems I have. It's more like it's not working. I have to ask Rob Lang. I think I will just let me I'm asking Rob. Ah, come on. Dinner. I really hope that this is something I made and not something, you know, a problem with Unity or netcode or something like that. Oops. Because if it's, but it can't be. It must be something I have done. But it's just super weird that it works. There's something I'm missing, because I really don't hope it's this shaky. But it never worked, so that's a good thing, because that shows that it might be me who's doing something wrong. But I simply cannot understand. This one is triggered every time I change the value on the client or on the host, but I'm only getting this debug message on when I'm only getting on the client when it's on the client and not on the host, and the host is sending it both ways. Okay, I was really hoping to so it's setting this one. Okay, let's try something. No, I can't do that. So this should freaking run on all. But it's a good thing that we looked back at the live stream and saw that it never worked, I think. Let's try again. Let's go again. So this method should be printed out on both the host and the client. And I've just seen in the profiler that's actually sending the data. So it could be something with this ownership, but but it works for the flashlight. The flashlight is made in the exact same way. I cannot see why this is not we could actually put this. Okay, we could put the same. Let's try something. Let's try and stop here, just for the debugging fun of it. So let's try and say, okay, so to new value. So now we should see the flashlight. This on value changed should happen on both the host and the client every time we touch it, because it should be the same as the freaking torch tool. And if this is not working, then they are set up completely the same. Default to false, everyone, owner. Default to false, everyone, owner. So it's the same. Should work. Let's try again here. Alternatively, if it's still not working now, but I can delete the clone and create a new clone, but it's just yeah, taking a break and come back. Yeah, that's sometimes is actually a good idea to take a break and come back, and then you spot the problem right away. So if I'm rewatching this live stream at some point, I might be thinking for an hour now, do that. It's right there. But let's see. Okay, so let's clear this console here. Let's walk up here. So we can see client 0, client 0. Perfect. And the torch. Perfect. So that all works. Now let's try the client. One last thing is to create a new clone, because I have seen that being sometimes the problem. Yeah. I will do that, and I will. It's also soon dinner time, so it makes sense to take a break. But let's see. So, turning on the torch. Just need to see something. That has nothing to do with that. Okay, nothing to do with that. Okay, so again, torch tool. So we should see this message we're seeing over here. We should see it on the host too. Let's try the flashlight. How do we, so it auto scrolls. See, the flashlight is working on both of them. Torch tool, only on one of them. And it's made in the freaking same way. Okay, it have to be some sync clone problem. Okay. This is gonna be crazy, but I'm doing it. Okay, so I'm deleting this clone. Let's just say and we are deleting that other clone, and then I'm creating a new clone. And if that fixed the problem, this parallel sync, oof, I'm not super fan of it. Let's maybe check that it actually did delete it. Okay, it did. Okay. So now I'm creating, because I'm thinking that this might be some kind of parallel sync clone issue. It's like it haven't got the right code on the clone, on the client. What we could, okay, I could also have done some other things. I could have made, I could try and switch it around so that the clone was the host and the main Unity was the client, just to be sure that it's not something with the codes. Yeah. But now we're ruling that one out because I'm creating a new clone now, so it should have the latest code. So if it's not working now, I don't know. Either way, I'm gonna stop in a moment because it's dinner time, so this will be the last go. Chocolate, if multiplayer works, it would be nice if there were players for different languages and it could be more than 2 players. And if there could be more than 2 players, it was a game. The plan is to be more than 2 players, but I will not be hosting any servers. The servers will be hosted by you guys, players. So one of your friends will create a server and other players will join that. Oh, I just saw your VNTG Simon. Hello, Lemony. How are you? Well, I'm fine. Well, I would have been a little better if this was working, but in general, I'm fine. Okay, let's try again. So we have a completely new clone now. So yeah, we have this completely new clone. Boom, 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 boom. We start the host in the main Unity, which is via some code set up to automatically start a local host server. Yeah, Chocolate. But as I said, there have to be a server, but the server is the host. That's the player that is hosting the game. So there's no dedicated server. It's just, if you create a game and then Kel'Thuzar and me joins that game and you are then the host. That's how it's gonna work. So we are in here. We have a flashlight, boom, we have a torch, yes, perfect, boom. So now we join with the client. Yeah, so it will depend on your system. Of course, for the players to connect to each other, I'm using, as I also mentioned earlier, I'm gonna use the Unity relay service because, and players don't think about that, but you cannot just connect your machine to Kel'Thuzar's machine, for instance, because of the way routers work and stuff like that. So there needs to be this kind of middleman that makes sure the traffic goes right without you having to change your router and port forwarding and stuff like that. So that's why I'm using Unity's relay service. So it's just easy for you guys to connect to each other. But now to something. Oops. That's still only on the client. Torch is working, but the flashlight is working on both of them. Okay, I'm giving up. Okay, I'm missing something obvious. I'm missing something freaking obvious. But I have no idea what it is. Is it something with... Is the flashlight is there? Let me try one last thing. Scene loading manager, boom, boom. And then we have some. So let me try and remove this code. So this code is just the one making sure that the main Unity is starting up, as it's just speeding up my testing. So when I start the native Unity, it starts up as a host always, and all the clones are always just joining the local host. Again, it's just so I don't have to type in a lot of stuff every time. I can just start this one and then start this one, and then it will connect automatically. But I just removed that code. So now I can make the clone here the host, and this one the client, just to see if it makes... There Mr. Rob is. Okay, Rob Lang, you are here. Let me show you a freaking weird thing. I made something the exact same way, but it's only working in one of them. Let me just, before I will show you in a moment. I'm just gonna switch it around because I was in doubt if it was a parallel sync issue, because sometimes it gets out of sync and not working. So okay, let me just try and start a local host here on the clone. Most likely it will be the same issue, but and we join. Okay, so now normally the host is to the left. Still have the same freaking problem. Okay, so it's not a sync issue. Okay. Okay, now I have it, so now I can show you. But when we see it next time, Rob, it will be switched around. Normally the host is to the left and the client's to the right, but now I switched it around. But anyway, so the problem is that here on the client, you can see down here that I'm writing out client 1, torch tool turned, true false, turned on and off, right? And you can see it's actually doing it over here locally. Like you can see it's actually going off, but you cannot see it happening over here. However, if I'm doing on the host here, you can see it's also reflected. You know, it works. It both writes out here and shows up over here. So it's syncing perfectly. And then you would say, oh, it's some authority, some blah, 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 blah. But the thing is, I'm doing it in the exact same way, I think, as I'm doing with the flashlight. And as you can see here, the flashlight works. Right now, I'm controlling this one over here. Turning on the flashlight also turns on the flashlight on the player over here. And if I do the other way around, it also works. Okay? So, but let's get back to, whoops. Just so we are back to what I just did was I switched the host and client around to test out and make sure that it wasn't a parallel sync issue. And I have some code in here just that, so when I'm in Unity, if it's a clone, it's always just joining localhost. And if it's not the clone, it's just a normal editor and it's always starting the host. It's just saving me time, you know, hosting and joining. So now we're back to the normal setup, the host being to the left, the client being to the right, but we have the same problem. Let me show you the code. So the thing is, okay. So I have this torch tool here. No, that's not right. I have this ignite tool. And I have a, let's move this a little. So I just have a network variable, boolean, defaults to false. It's readable for everyone, and it's writable from the owner, so the player itself. Okay, then I have an awake method, just checking stuff, doesn't matter, and then I have the important on network spawn. And see you, Mega Monkey. So on the network spawn, I'm setting this I'm hooking up to the unchanged for this torch turned on, and I'm just calling a method that is just turning it on off. This is just the visual turning on and off the effect and the light and stuff like that. So it's just this is just the visual part of it. And this method is called whenever the variable is changed. So when it happens as it go, and then I have a little method here to also make it update when players are joining. So if the torch is actually turned on when a client is joining, he will also see it being turned on like that. And this is done in the exact same way as I have done the flashlight, as you saw working. You know, I have the flashlight turned on, default to false, everyone, and owner. So that's fine. Do it the exact same thing. Okay. On variable change looks sensible. And the way I'm actually also, you know, always when you see the torch go off, it happens via setting the network variable. So on the you know, that is how it's triggering this effect here. This one is only called here. So the visual effect is only happening here when this unchanged is changed. You know, okay? Yeah, and it just do the same thing. It just say if it's turned on false, and then some tool tips for owner stuff, and then it just turns it off. And this is just some play sound, blah 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 blah. So it's very much the same. And the funny thing is, but this logic around how the flashlight is actually turned on and the logic around how the torch is actually turned on is not really important, because the problem starts already here, because this debug message here is not triggered. And so that's why I'm thinking it's some other thing. It's not something with the logic of turning it on and off. We can skip that part. This one is not triggered. So when I'm on the host and I'm clicking the torch, this method is debug thing is called on both the client and the host. But when I'm doing it on the client, it's only triggered on the client. But having the profiler run, I can actually see it sending something to the host. So it's like the host is somehow ignoring that message somehow. So let me show you that. So we are back to the host being, you know, due to this code I have. This one is the host. So we start this one. Hello, Raysat Gaming. As Keltusar, 1 to 2 years, approximately, and maybe never. Right now, there's kind of a stopper here. But the weird thing is, Rob, that it's working for the flashlight. Okay, so, here is the host, and now we're joining with the client. And now you will see so again, the visual about turning it on and off doesn't really matter, because that on value changed is not triggered, and that's the problem. And that's kind of out of my hands, you could say. I'm not in charge of doing that. Yeah, but the RPC calls, I don't want to do that, because I just want to set the variable and then make then have netcode for game objects sync that stuff. I don't want to, you know, I shouldn't. It works fine. That's weird. So again, so let's try. Now I'm controlling the host. I don't know if you can see from the chat there. Let me remove the chat maybe so you can better see. So let's try the flashlight first. So I'm turning on the flashlight. And now you can see, if I take the mouse over here, you can see flashlight was turned on the host. And I also see the client 0 turning the flashlight on. And you can also actually visually see it. So that's fine. We turn it off again. Now I do the same thing on the client. Turn on the flashlight. Works fine. We have the client 1 flashlight changed, turned on, true, and changed turned on, changed to true, blah, 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 blah. Okay, so the flashlight sync of the network variable works fine. Now let's go over here, take the torch. I'm clicking the button. You see it actually, now I can't keep it in here, but you can see now that it's turned on here on the host to the left. And you can also, on the right side, you can see that other, you know, the host player is actually also turning on the torch. So that works. And we can also see down here, torch client 0, torch true, false. So it's turned on and off. And we also see the same client 0, torch turned on off over here on the client. Now comes the problem. Because now I'm switching to the torch over here. We can see visually that the client have the torch over here. And now I'm turning it on. And as you can see, down here, I'm getting a client 1 torch turned on, changed to true, false. So it's turned on and off. That's why it's actually showing up on and off, because it's set via the network variable. But over here on the host, nothing happens. And my mind says, I can't do a build of the game. I could try that, but it's so weird because the code is exactly the same. And also I can also show you but this will kind of break the game once it pauses. But you can see here, stuff is running here. Now I go to the client and I click here, and let's get these away. And then I click and click. So you see here, if I can do it here. Now the game, of course, will break because now it's pausing, so it will time out and stuff like that. So you can see here that, but the problem is I cannot see the value, and that's really annoying. So I can see that the client 1 here is actually sending something about the torch. It might be that it should be turned on. That could be a good candidate, but I can't see what it's sending. I can only see that that the server have received 4 bytes. I think we can maybe... and here goes the same. Client 1 is sending 2 messages, but I cannot see what it is. So you can see something is happening on the network. On network start might not be called for the client on the host. On network start, I'm not hooking up to that. Could it be some other thing? You might, let me show you. Because I could, from the docs, I could see that the order of stuff also matters. Anyway, so I have my player here. The player have a network object and a client network transform thingy going on here on the root level. And then here, the flashlight is located here, and the ignite tool is located here. It's just under an empty game object, so it shouldn't really do anything, but now you know. Okay, let me see. So a network spawn, yeah, but network spawn, yeah, okay. No, the on network spawn is called on. It's not called the host for the client. Yeah, we could do a debug there. Okay, okay. You can see I actually already had that. So this one is just logging out whatever it's spawned with. I used this before when I was testing what it started out with. But I'm pretty sure this one is called on both sides. Because the on network spawn is still, I'm pretty sure it's called on client 2 for the host. But it's an interesting idea. Okay, they will be the last thing because dinner is ready, so I have to go. But while it loads, Rob, isn't there a way for me to see whatever it's sending over the network? I can't use this delta message and the amount of bytes. I want to see what it's sending. I think the player is only spawned once. No, but there's a player on each of the... Okay, so you haven't seen the data, yeah. Well, I wouldn't be interesting, but in this case, I can see it sending it, but it's not. But again, as I said, it works on the flashlight. That's the weird thing. It works fine on the flashlight. So the method is called, but yeah. Now we will see. Okay, now I cleared the log on the host, but that doesn't really matter because it's the other one that doesn't work. Okay, let's see. So now when the client, you are onto something, because see here, we never got that. So it should have said client spawned with torch tool turned on, blah blah, some value. And we see that over here, client 1 spawned with torch tool turned on, false. That worked over here. It's on its own. And client 0 also spawned with torch turned false, blah blah blah, over here. But on the host, it never happened. Is this method? But no, but that's not. This shouldn't stop all of the on-network spawn, should it? But I still don't get it. Why does this work? Yeah, I'm not for stuff like syncing up, these things. I'm just using the variables. I think that makes good sense. Okay, so you want to do it in the start, but isn't there I was googling for an overview of the order of stuff, the execution order of Unity general. That's easy to find, but isn't there one for netcode so you can see where these things are going? Because I had some other issues where I had to change. I can actually show you. So I have this ignite tool here, and it uses a torch tool, which is just a visual representation of it. And that method, that torch tool, originally had a start method here, where it was stopping the torch effect, and that made this not work because this one is called before the start one. So in here, I was actually setting the initial, if the other one was starting with the torch turned on, I was setting it correctly here. But then later on, the start method was called and the torch effect was stopped, resulting in it not showing up, of course. The funny thing is, I had another, when I had 2 clones before, and the funny thing is, on the clients, it was actually working. So that might be, it's something like that, yeah. Yeah, okay, so there's a difference between, yes, the hosted one and the one on the clients. But dynamic objects, but the player is also a dynamic object, because he is not, the game is loaded and then I'm not spawning the player in. I'm just starting the game, as I remember, and then the network manager is responsible for spawning the player on the host too. But anyway. Yeah, my players are dynamic. Okay, so I should put this one. So I should put this one in start. That's what you're saying. But I still don't understand why it works on the flashlight then. Okay. Yeah. Yeah. Okay. I'll have to try that. But it will be later. Have to eat dinner now. But besides that, I actually really like this way of doing it with the network variables. Makes good sense. For instance, the flashlight. Then I can just, I don't have to make, when players are joining later on, the flashlight of other players are just on. So that these network variables works really well for stuff like that. I'm sure I will get to some stuff where I need remote calls and all that, but for now and for the player here, it works fine. Also, I'm doing the same. I didn't show it now, but I'm doing the same for the tools as I showed you the other day. For syncing the tools, I'm just basically syncing an integer. And then, when that changed, I changed the tool based on that integer. So it works pretty good. The other tools are not working, Keltasar, yet. Not network-wise. Only the flashlight and the torch is the next one I'm working on. The other ones are much more complicated. Yeah, exactly, Keltasar. You only see the tools selected, but you don't see the action. You don't see the laser. You don't see anything yet. Because again, that's much more complicated. So that will be later on. So, okay, but that's it. Stopping for today. 2 hours and 14 minutes live stream. And I didn't even make one tool work. Woohoo! But, I'm learning. I'm getting knowledge. And so next time I have a problem like this, I know how to fix it. Well, I don't know how to fix it yet, but hopefully later tonight I will try this out, moving it to start. Maybe read up a little on what you just said, Rob. But yeah, that's it. See you. Thank you for hanging out. And see you in the next live stream. Let me find it here. Yeah, ending. Bye. Oh yeah, and have a nice Sunday.